Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. Yesterday we started trying to get multiple touch handling working for our buttons here. So right now if we click the D-pad we can detect whether or not we're clicking any one of these directions. It's a little more complicated when we're doing touch detection because it is a different function. It's not the get mouse position, it's a get touch position sort of deal. So today we're going to be trying to figure this out and testing it on the iPhone to test if we can get multiple inputs properly rendering onto the screen here. Because ideally we want to be able to hold left and then also hold, say, the A button or something at the same time. So we're going to be trying to do that today. Now, I think, yeah, this is gross. This is all this touch stuff is clogging up our main Lua, which I don't plan on keeping it here in the main.lua. Just at the moment, right now, we're in a mobile feature branch that we are trying all this code in, and then once it works, we'll pare it down into the bare necessities here. So I'm just going to get rid of some of these excess comments here to clean up what we're looking at, and then I can walk through what we are currently planning on doing. Okay. So basically we have this class called touch detection, and all this is a location in X and Y, a width and a height, for whether or not, you know, it's basically a collidable thing, right? So like if our touch collides with a touch detection object, we want to render that button is being pressed, right? So all the render is saying is if we are pressed, go ahead and fill it with a certain color. So that's all this touch detection is a colliding box to basically test whether or not we're actually touching something. And then if we look at the top here, see how we have a touch detection object for all of our directions. Top left, top center, top right, left, right. We should have, yeah, bottom left. Should just be called bottom and not bottom center. It's okay. Yeah, let's change this to not top center, just top, right? And not bottom center, just bottom. So the really tricky thing is that yesterday we weren't able to basically test this stuff with touches because our computer here doesn't receive touches. Only a touch device does. So we're going to be committing and pushing to this feature branch, and then I'm going to swap over to my Mac and we're going to pull the changes, and then I'm going to compile the .love, put it on my phone, and then I'll screen share my phone so that y'all can see the inputs of our labor here. So we are doing this jacked up, like, ay. See, I don't like that we have to do this stuff. There's a tricky thing that we've been having to fix, is that since our game can happen at multiple resolutions, right? Depending on how big your phone is, how big your monitor is, we're using a library called Push that resizes the virtual width of our game. But that makes touch detection harder to calculate because we don't know how, how much pixels we're shifting, depending on how big the game is stretched, essentially. So this is a tricky part where we're saying, okay, we're gonna do push to game method right here, and that's gonna take our X and Y position and convert it to what it is for the screen, and then we're modifying each of the touches in our D-pad table to have that value. But we need to go about this differently. We ran into so many issues yesterday trying to do this, and we just need to tackle it a little differently. I made some notes to hopefully get us started on the right path. But like, first things first, let's just try to get a touch thing rendering and updating so that we have access to a touch object, right? And working on screen. Let's look at this here. So we're going to have a table, an empty table called touches. That's going to store all of our touches, right? So right here, what we were doing is saying, hey, we're going to get touches, which gets all the current touches at a given moment, and then put them into a variable here. I think we need to do something a little more like this, because we're trying to we have to keep reference to which touch is being released, right? Because if we touch and release, they might get generated with different IDs, because this ID here is generated for us by this get touches, and we have no control over that. So I think we need to modify this so we have a little more control. So instead of doing touches here, we're going to set our touches table right here. I don't know if we do want it local. I guess we're rendering, if we are rendering our touches down here, we kind of need it to be global. See, oh, well, we're rendering our D-pad. Okay. So let's start off as local, and we'll see if we can pull it off. So local touches gets an empty table. Then we're gonna take in, now this love touch pressed gets called every time there is a touch, and it gets populated with these values here. But we don't need pressure, because I don't know what we would do with that. But we're going to say, go into our touches table at the index of whatever ID is generated for any of the touches. And we're going to go ahead and assign into that table a couple different values, and it's the same values that we get with this function here. So we're just going to get the XY, the DX, DY. I don't know if we need the DX, DY. We might not need it, but let's just take it for now. So love touch press gets called every time there is a touch being pressed, not being held, not being released, but just pressed. So upon press, it'll give us that touch at whatever ID, and then we'll have to keep track of how that touch is moving to detect whether or not it is colliding still with a touch object. So we have a touch moved, and this is also another love function that is generated for us. We just have to populate it, and this is like, if we do this, if touches ID like this, that's gonna only assign values if that is not nil. So if there is a touch, go ahead and update that touch. That's all this is saying. So we're going to say touches at our ID X field is going to get X from the touch move parameter right here. That gets assigned into the touches X. And then the touches X and Y is what we're going to do to actually like render a circle or something where my thumb is being pressed or whatever, so that we can hopefully see that. So we're going to need X, Y, DX, DY. So there's Y, there's DX, and DY. Okay. And then we need to remove the touch from the table if we have a touch released function. So we're going to say love.touchReleased. And all we're going to do is nullify that ID that used to exist. We're just going to nullify it there. Okay. So we will have to update. This is all in the update function, which is incorrect. We don't want to wipe our table every frame there. I believe, yeah, so the touch moved is like a callback function. So if we declare it here, it doesn't just get executed once. It's basically saying, hey, we have this function called, and I don't know where to put. Wow, okay. I don't know where to put it in the load. We'll have to refactor this touch stuff out of our main here, but I guess we'll just put it here at the bottom after our keyboard releases stuff. Okay. So now we have these functions that get called upon a touch press. So now we need to update these touches every time a frame elapses, right? So we're going to say, just like this, for ID touch in pairs touches, I'm gonna say we're gonna print it on screen here so that we can see it on the phone. So we're gonna do graphics.print, and actually maybe we just render a circle. Hey, what's up, Katron? Maybe we just render a circle to see where we touched it, right? So I think this takes in a fill, and then let's see, because I think it takes in a diameter and an X and Y mode. So fill X, Y, radius. Okay. So we're just gonna say we're gonna print this up at whatever that given touches X and touches Y. Yo, we just got some thunder. Radius, let's say 5, 10. Let's try 10. Now this is a render, not an update. So we actually need to just update the touches. So I think I'm actually not sure how this is working. Let's I think since this is these touch functions are a callback, I think they effectively get updated anytime they're pressed, right? So touch move gets called back every frame. So I think we don't need to technically update. All we need to do is render, I think. So let's go to our render function here, and then let's put our circle right here. And then just to test something, I'm going to see what the circle would look like on our phone if it were just stagnant here. So we're going to say fill. Let's just put it at 25, 25 and a 10 radius. And we'll also do a set color so we know we can see it with what? Red? Okay, so we set the color. We're just going to render a circle. All right. $126. Oh, not iPerse. Just... Oh. This is wrong. We don't want this anymore. This is our old method. We'll have to still do some fixing. But let's just see. Okay, we can't have a local variable called in the render function. We have to make it global. Okay, so there's a test touch rendering, right? So that's about what it would look like just to render a touch on screen. So now let's test it on the phone itself. So we'll see if yeah. Okay, so instead of doing this, oh no, that's the one we want. That's our actual touch that we're supposedly rendering at the given touches X and Y. This is the test touch that we don't need to render, and then we'll set our color for our touch right there. So let's try this. So let's go to our main. Let's go to our full screen. We'll change it to full screen for our mobile device. Then we will commit and push so that we can get it on our phone. Okay, we're gonna say testing touch callbacks on mobile. Okay, that is pushed to our mobile test feature branch, and let's swap over to the phone. Okay, so we're gonna get pull. Okay. Now this is how we're doing it, and it's actually quite easy now that I've got the build set up. If we do an ls in here, we've got our main.lua. This is like a main, you know, the Love2d project. So we're gonna zip this up and call it something. I'm gonna call it mobile.love. So what that did is give us a .love in our folder here. Now we need to plop it onto our phone right here. Okay, I think I need oops. Let's change the build for here. Yeah, Katron, definitely feeling better today for sure. It just sucks that it's like weekend's over, you know? I wanted time to relax, but I didn't get much. Okay. So all we'll do is we'll take that mobile.love we just compiled from our current build. We're going to drop it into the love folder, and then let's see if this works. Sweet, yes. So I'm screen sharing here, and then we've got this love app on our phone here, and we've got our mobile.love right here. Okay, here we go. Oh my goodness, look at that. So the touches, wow, this is great. This is great. Now the thing is, what's the buttons that are highlighting, they're not highlighting exactly where my thumb is. It's a little off. But the fact that they're rendering there. Now see, if I have multiple inputs, they're not quite working, but the fact that we have those buttons working is quite promising. But the thing is, we're not seeing our circle. I thought we would be seeing the circle that we were rendering, but instead the colors we're seeing here are the dot pressed of our touch detection objects. which is good because that's what we want to ultimately happen, but that's not what I thought was going to happen here. Yeah, I was still working. I mean, I went back to work, what, Thursday and Friday? And then I think that slowed my recovery down. And then I had freelancing work this weekend too, so I just had to work. I don't know, it feels like I just work a lot. Okay, this is... So, I think what's happening here is our push library is rendering the screen at a different resolution. Because, like right now, I'm pressing right now, I'm pressing right... I am pressing on the right side of the D-pad, but it's below where all the buttons are. So it's like right above the start button, really, that I'm pressing here, and it's detecting the touch there. So let's see if we can figure out how to translate the touch's X position by our push virtual resolution and see why we can't get the circle to render for every touch, because we should have a touch table here being populated, which we don't. We should also probably print up... Oh, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Yes. 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 So what was that? If I'm... Okay. So right here, even though it appears at the bottom of the screen here, I'm touching right at the fence post. So it thinks that its Y position is way lower than it really is. Although the 0, 0 looks right. So like touching up there. But this is great. This is what I thought would happen. So we need to try to get this one at the correct location where my finger is. And it gets further the further down we go because of the scaling. But once we get the thing at the right position, then we'll worry about trying to get multiple touches. Sweet. This is awesome. Just the fact that we've got touches, I'm happy about that. Okay. I'm so glad that screen share works. That's really cool. I was supposed to have my first guest interview for the channel last Thursday. I was sick, and so was the guy I'm interviewing. So we have to reschedule, but that is in the works, and it's going to be coming soon. I'll reach out to reschedule probably this week, and I'll try to get another day locked in for that interview. Okay. Let's take a look at how we fix this problem already for our other touches. Now, I am kind of curious that our touches was updating our dot pressed. Now, if we look at when we do the dot pressed, right there, we do it for all of the D-pad, all of the... Okay, this is a little confusing because we give a mouse X and Y position to a mouse X and Y global variable, and then I think our collides function for our touch detection objects they don't use the global. Oh, but the update does. So that's why are we? Yeah, we are updating. Okay. So we update our touch detection, which is taking the global mouse X and Y variable, which I'm thinking is just from a get position. So that's what's really confusing, is that it treats a touch as if it's a mouse get position also. So our current thing was showing up because of this inconsistency. We probably won't even use mouse X and Y because it's just going to be on touch, right? So we'll have to change that. But let's see here how we were shifting the X and Y position, right? So right here we were saying for all of our touches, we're going to go ahead and store the mouse X and Y position into the D-pad. The D-pad is the table for our touch detection objects. So all the D-pad directions are held in that D-pad object. So we're saying D-pad at index whatever, that mouse X gets global mouse X. Jeez, okay. Then this is what we need. We need to update the position by the push to game function here. And then we need to also scale it by the scale factor, which is weird. I don't know if that has to be necessary, because that's the only thing we got it to be working. And we also scale it for the mouse. Okay, so we need the push to game, and we also need the scale factor modification for our touch. We'll have to put this into the callback functions, I believe. So I want to say that we would need to modify the position like this, and then also modify. See, I think we probably are going to take out dx and dy. I don't think we'll need it. That, and because with the scale factor reset, it also affects the dx and dy, so that's going to be all jacked up. So this is not pressed, but actually, shit, man. I think not in pressed, but in moved. Let's just try to put it in moved, and then we'll see. So let's try this, where we say touches at index ID. No, this is wrong. So D-pad at index I, that is a touch detection object. So we're saying move the touch detection object. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, I think the first step is to literally print up what the X and Y position of the touch is and see if it's jacked up or not, according to our virtual resolution. So if we take a look at our constants, we'll see that our window height is a scale factor of 3. So wait, why? Okay, that's just ridiculous. Okay, so 144 for the height of the Game Boy times 3, the scale factor. That gives us what? .144 times 3 is 432 times 2 for the stacked resolution. So I'm just going to put 864. So if our touch object is at 864 when our thumb's at the bottom of the screen, then we won't need to do this weird rescaling stuff. And we would, I think we, I don't know. We have to figure it out one step at a time here. So when I go to render the touch, I'm going to also print up, I'm going to say love.graphics.print, and I want to print the X and the Y. So I'm going to say X, and then concatenate to a string of the value of touch X, and we'll put it at an X and Y of our, actually, yeah, we can just do the right side of the screen. I was thinking we could put it above itself, but we should probably put it on the right side of the screen somewhere. Let's just put it at X of 10, Y of 30, 40. I don't want to get it in the way of the other things there. And then we'll print up our Y at touch Y to string and Y of 50, and then render the circle anyway. Okay. So get oh no. You would think I can make a git commit message. Okay. Let's say printing touch positions. Okay, let's swap over. Shit. Okay. So we're going to delete our old one. We're going to pull the changes. We're going to rezip our project. We're going to put it back on our phone. And let's see it. Okay. So what did we say? 846 for the Y? Oh, yep. Our Y is 290 down here. And then our X, wow, yeah, it is way jacked up because my thumb's about off screen now and it's at 340 when it should be what? I need to write this down. So the red dot here is going off screen when it's about at an X of 160, and that's our virtual width. So we need to modify our touch position to be bigger. Okay, because yeah, it looks like if we weren't scaling it, it takes up just such a tiny location. So we need to scale it by the scale factor. We need to scale our touch position by the scale factor. And then our touch position will hopefully render at the right location of the touch. Okay. I've got so many cables draped over me right now. Okay. Okay, so on a touch move and a touch press initialization, I think we need to modify this by the scale factor. But we also, it's not just the scale factor. Let's try just the scale factor first and then see if that fixes it. If not, we have to do the weird push to game stuff. I'm gonna say that we also get it initialized here, modified by the scale factor as well. And we'll try this, because if we were to multiply it by 3, what I'm trying to say is, like, it was going off screen at about a third of the touch location. So I think, hey Prosto, what's up, dude? I think this might work. Always good to hear, Prosto. Okay, it's way off. Ooh, I think we need to shrink it. I think we need to shrink it by the scale factor, not multiply. Nice, Proso. Yeah, dude, thanks for putting the your little art stuff in the Discord. That's so cool, dude. Yeah. Yeah, dude, your pixel art is killing it. Okay. Okay, let's try it. Yeah, dude, hey, whatever you want to share, feel free to dump it in that art channel. It's for everyone to share if you want, you know, no pressure. Oh, it's close. It's close. See there. Now you can see how the press is lighting up the D-pads, but it is still off. It's like it's about half as off as it used to be. But that's at least, this is cool because now it's showing us, you know, we'll need to add touch detection objects over here for the buttons. So my thumb is as right as it goes here, and that's how far it's off. So I think we still do have to translate by the virtual resolution that Push is giving us, because it's not quite there just yet, but that is much closer. Okay. Yeah, it's close. It's close. Oh my gosh, look at that. We've got both. Oh my goodness. Yes, we can handle multiple touches. Oh, nice. Okay. Hey, thanks, Prosto. I appreciate that. Dude, I'm excited that we get multiple touches now. This is cool. So now we need to, you know, we need to check for detection for multiple touches, right? So that we can test, oh, hey, look, we're pressing the B button and the D-pad at the same time. So we'll have to add a touch detection object for the buttons, as well as check the pressed, update the dot pressed of our touch detection objects based on multiple touches, not just the first touch, because right now only the first touch is detecting there. This is great though. This is awesome. And then also this helps me like picture if we were able to, I'm trying to, you know, in terms of like how the loot is going to work, I'm trying to think if we can hit multiple frets at once or something by pressing A and B at the same time. So like it's useful to see how the touch is responding to my thumb being like fat on the floor instead of like, you know, instead of pointed like this, but more like up the pad of your finger. But it's quite smooth, but it is useful to see how it responds here. So we still need to fix the scaling. It's just a bit off. So let's see if we can get that. I'm gonna see if I can reposition the camera a bit to get Jimmy a little more in view here. Yeah, I get it, Prosto. Hey, thank you for stopping in. I'm sure there's going to be bugs, but it is not your fault. It's mine. Thanks. Let's get back over here to the code. Shit, man, I keep killing my T-mugs. That's my bad. Okay, so we do need to do this thing before we... Ay. What do we do here? Right here, we're modifying the mouse and Y position by the 2 game in our push. Push is our library that scales the screen for us. So what we're doing is saying get the position of the touch, modify it by push, store it in the same location. So I think all we'd have to do is say, we might have to do, let's try this. Let's try to put this in one line, and we'll say touches at index ID dot X and Y gets push to game the current X and Y, or this X and Y. Okay, and then we're gonna shrink it by the scale factor. I have no idea if that'll work. This is just tricky because the X and Y changes depending on the size of your screen, because it'll be full screen on different devices. So we have to, you know, do something like this, I think. So we're gonna say divided by scale factor. And okay, let's try that. I'm thinking we don't want this. I don't know. I think we don't want this here. I think we want it normal, then convert it, then scale it. I think. Okay, let's try it. Way off. Way off. Oh, yeah, it's way off. Well, now I feel like we do need to apply the scale factor. So why don't we try to multiply it now and see if that fixes it, now that we got the virtual translation done. I almost did it again. Okay. I realize why I quit my TMUX session so often on accident, and it's because I bash shortcutted E to be exit, and I do that because once I run the game with leader M, it runs, right, and then I hit E and enter to reset it. So that's why I quit my TMUX session so often, because if I in a git commit, that's when I'm just in the terminal. That's when exiting will kill the session. So I just piece that together. Okay, we need to scale this. Now, I think we want to do this here too. I think we want to say, I don't know how we would do this. We're going to modify those fields right off the bat from the touch pressed to be scaled by this, but also multiplied by the scale factor, I believe. And then when we update, we also translate the X and Y of this, which we have to then recalculate the virtual offset and then rescale it depending on what our scale factor is. And a scale factor is just a thing I gave us to make sure that we're multiplying. Actually, it's like a byproduct of when I have full screen turned on and I run the game. Sometimes Twitch or OBS doesn't show the full screen game, so I run it in non-full screen mode a lot, and depending on what computer I'm on, that is a different size. So I just like gave me a scale factor button to make sure that I can multiply the window width a certain factor of pixels so that we weren't getting weird. I actually don't know the efficacy of that. I don't know. I was thinking that I did the scale factor thing to make sure that we only scale up to the window resolution of even number pixels, but the resize actually overrides that. So we might end up changing that. But it's still useful for now. If I switch machines, I can, and for like the web deployment and stuff, I can change the scale factor to make it bigger or smaller without being resized to a thing like the browser. So I don't know. Let's try to multiply it here, and we'll try the build again, and hopefully this is closer, right? We'll git commit, say cool. Let's try it. I love how easy that is to make the build. All I do is zip it, and then it makes a .love. Really cool. Yeah, it's still jacked up. Okay. It's just way off. So like if I draw with my finger across my screen, it goes way far, right? Like okay, if we can figure out how to get these touches. Now these touches are being rendered based on the mouse position, which is weird because I think the touch position also gives back a mouse position as well. But if we can figure out how we're scaling that one's a lot closer. Shit. I don't know what to do. Because we had it working pretty accurately with this code where we say get the position of the ID, store it here, translate the position that we get with push to game, and then modify it by the skill factor. So maybe, I don't know what else we're doing. Let's see. The tricky thing here is that we do a update for our touch objects right here. And if we look at what that update does is this is the sneaky thing here, is we're using this global mouse X and mouse Y, and we get this global mouse X and mouse Y from the get position from the mouse right here. So that's what's rendering the buttons pressing, not the circle pressing. But if we take a look at all what we do, the only thing we do... Actually, yeah. That's just raw, just raw position. So let's try to... Oh my gosh, this is just exhausting, because we have to see if we don't push it and we don't scale factor it, and we just say, give us our X and Y. Update it. How far off is it? Let's see this. You know what? It's like... It's literally just off by a factor of 2. Because if I stop my finger right there, well... No, not quite. it's almost off by a factor of 2. So I'm thinking, let's try to half our touch X and Y. Let's just try to cut it in half and see if that gets us closer, because, well, it's tough to say too, because this is one size of a touch device, and if we make sure it works only on an iPhone SE, then we could be just fixing it for my current build. Shoot, man. But if we look at the position, right? Like, this is the mouse position that was working. So if we look, this is weird. Why does... See, our red X and red Y are matching our mouse X and mouse Y. So that mouse X and Y from the get position, the get mouse position, is the same as this touch X and Y. So I am a little confused why these buttons aren't matched with my finger, because they're the same value. Like, they should be either matched with my finger or matched with the red dot, but they're not matched with either. And I don't think we're doing any scaling to the mouse X and Y position, so let's... What do we do here? The Y screen height limit is something like 860, but when this thing is at 300, it's going off. So this thing is like 160 wide by 280. That's our... Yeah, it should be 288. Okay, so this is limited to the virtual resolution that we are pushing. So we just need to figure out how to modify the... Not the touch X, but we need to convert our touch into a shifted version so that we save... How do we do that? Because we don't want... Wow, ideally we don't want our X and Y to be able to go outside of that range. But this is good news, because the circle here is 160, that's the width, and 144 is the height. So 144, yeah, so that's the height, and then it's times 2, so 288 for the bottom. So 288 is the center of the circle there, yeah, at 160, yeah, that's just about right. Okay, so we have to figure out how to modify our touch position. Yeah. Well, what sucks, like, that link is still up on the screen. You know, it's out of chat, but it's not out of the screen. Maybe I'll flush it. There we go. Okay. We're getting close. I'm still just misunderstanding how to do this, though. We need to modify... This is the raw touch position, right? So my finger right now is in the middle of the screen, but that's saying, hey, the middle of the screen is about an X of 160. So we need to say, hey, if you get an X of 160, that actually needs to be doubled. About. It's not quite double. So it depends on how big the screen is. So it depends on the DPI of the screen. So how do we say, yeah, how do we just convert it to, I don't know. Let's try over here. me think this through, because we're not trying... Yeah, we're rendering ultimately the red circle at the X position of our touch. So we need to modify what position is being stored, yeah, depending on the given parameter. So we do need to scale it. Let's try to do this again. Let's try to say, okay, X and Y is now going to be the result of using our push to game. Now push to game, it calculates the real resolution that we're being virtually applied to, I think. So let's try this and see what it changes, if it makes it worse or not. So let's see. Let's do get fugitive, add all. Did it work? Shit. I don't think I have get fugitive. Yes, I do. Get, add. What, you didn't work? Oh, it did work. It just didn't tell me anything. It's staged. So what was that? Okay. We didn't do a get pull, did we? Okay. That's it. That's it. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's exactly where I'm pressing. Hell yeah. So we got the buttons still wrong, because those are being calculated based on the love position, the mouse get position. So we need to instead flip these touch detection objects to become pressed only when the touch objects are colliding with them, not when the mouse X and Y are colliding with them. But this is close, man. This is close. It's cool. It's cool that this is working. Those are exactly right. Cool. So let's take out the old detection there, and we'll add 2 new detection objects on our A and B buttons so that we can test pressing the buttons also. Then I'll show you guys a cool new deployment. I'm using this new tool to deploy Tashio onto the web, so I can host it on my website, so people can use, ultimately, they can use the Game Boy version on my website and play on the D-pad on my website without even having to download anything. So that'll be really cool. Okay. Sweet. I don't know if we need to do a translate upon the initial thing here. Why not? If this breaks something, this shouldn't break anything, right? I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this just yet. And we just got it working. Well, I'll tweak it later. Okay, let's take a look at our touch detection objects. Now, right now, these are taking a self.mousex, which gets updated by this global position. So we want to instead update. Yeah, this is wrong. We want to be able to pass in a touch here. Right, so our collides function takes in a touch because we want to check upon multiple potential touches. And the touches have a field just like that, lowercase. So we'll say touch.y. Okay. So now it takes in a touch. So now we need to check collision upon all the touches. So we'll see where we do the collide. And instead of passing in nothing, we need to cycle through all our touches. So we don't want to do this update, I believe. So what's a little confusing is like we have to have a nested for loop, right? Because every frame we need to check if any of the touches are touching any of the buttons. So we need a nested for loop in here where we say, okay, if our mouse is down because something is being pressed, then we're going to go ahead and do the cycle. If nothing's being pressed, we don't need to check collision for any of the touches or any of the things because they don't exist, right? So we'll say if mouse down, then we want to cycle through our touches. And if we collide with any of those touches, so we need I guess I'll call this index touch in pairs touches. And we want to check the V, which is the D-pad button. If the D-pad button collides with the actual touch value of our touches table, then change the V, which is the value of our D-pad collidable, turn it into pressed. If we're not colliding with it, turn it to not pressed. And also, if mouse is not down, flush them all to not pressed. So if nothing is being pressed, they're all unpressed, right? If there's no touch, they're all false. Now I think we can get rid of this update because our update is deferred now to the callback function of the get pressed. So I think this will work. Let's see. So let's try our get fugitive again where we say, gosh, how do I do it? I didn't know you could do this. What the fuck? Get? Oh yeah, we staged it. So get, add. Did it work? Okay, let's try it. Not working. It is not changing our collidable touch objects. We could have swapped. Shit. Oh. That was weird. Right there, we're colliding. What the? Oh, this is weird. Whoa. What the hell? So look, when we just touch and don't move, it picks up that we collided with the D-pad button. But as soon as we move, it turns into the dot and we're not colliding anymore, and we can't collide anymore with that thing. I think that's because it's not registering the moved function, right? This is what I said we would implement later, because the moved function doesn't get called unless we move our touch. So therefore, it's still using the old mouse X and Y position for these touches. But as soon as we move it, it uses the touches, which are then, something's wrong in our collides, our touches collides with D-pad buttons that just isn't rendering here. We're getting close. We're super close, right? Like, okay, I think I might know what's happening. For every D-pad here, we're cycling through all our touches and changing that given D-pad to false or true shit. So this is tough because since it's a nested for loop like this, let's say we're... It's tough to explain because it's like we've got... Let's say we have 2 touches. What this is doing is cycling through all of our D-pad buttons and then cycling through both of those touches. And it's saying, hey, are we colliding with that touch? Become pressed if we are. False if we're not. So where the problem is let's say that the first button is colliding, the first touch is colliding with the button, but the second touch is not. Then we'll be cycling through the D-pad. Let's say we're on the left D-pad. The first one's colliding, second one is not. So we're going to say, okay, this V is the D-pad left. We're going to check if left is colliding with the first button, which it is. So it's going to say it's pressed. But then it's going to go and cycle through the second touch. And it's going to say, okay, well now is this second touch colliding with this left pad, which it is not. Therefore, it is not pressed. So we need to almost break out. If any of these become pressed, we need to break from the loop. Because if we're pressed on one button, we know we aren't going to become false. So I think we might be able to just put break in here, and maybe it fixes it. But I don't know. But that's, to me, that would make sense why this is jacked up. And then it makes sense that it's jacked up on the old way because we didn't do our push to game on our initialization for our touch pressed. We just did it on a touch moved. So that makes sense to me why that's still messed up. But let me see if I can do my cheat code here. It worked. Okay. Then we'll get push. Sweet. That's sweet. So what I did there in get fugitive, I don't have to leave NeoVim. I just did a :G. That's get fugitive. And I have a get alias where A is not only add everything to the staging area, but also commit with a message. So all I did was GA, commit message, get push, and then I didn't have to leave NeoVim. We've got a add, commit, and push without leaving NeoVim. So that's just what I did there. Okay. So check out how easy it is to get the new build on an iPhone. We get pull our changes. It was a one-line change. We just got the break out of that inner for loop. Then we zip our folder called mobile.love. We take that, we drop it onto our device. We had to build the Love app using Xcode, but once it's built, all we have to do is we just drag and drop it. And then now we can play it on our phone. Shit, still, shit. Well, and the thing is, like, there's only one touch here, and it's broken on the one touch. So we didn't fix it. We didn't fix it. But let me see. We're close. I can't tell. Our X and Y is perfect for this. And our X and Y of our position is fine because we're the button is rendering at the right locations, right? It's rendering at all of the right locations. It's just that the touch doesn't map to the right location. Yeah, like look at how much we're off there. We're off a little on the left and the right, and the up and down. Okay. Well, let's try to figure it out. We're almost there. Now, either we messed up when we took out the update, which I don't think that's the case. Because this is... We don't need to... Actually... Okay, yeah. We don't need the update because all the update used to be doing was... changing the collision detection, which we changed to a parameter input instead, so we don't need this anymore. Now, this self-pressed is what controls whether it's rendering, and we're modifying it directly here, so that counts as our colon update. It's just that it's weird. I think we need to do this differently. Like, we only need to if we take this apart and try to do it differently, where that we only change it to false if it isn't pressed by any touch, instead of the current touch. So how do we do that? First, we're going to check if mouse is down, because we only want to update all this stuff if we have a touch. And if we touch something, mouse down gets populated to true. So if mouse is down, what do we need to do? We need to check any given touch and see if it's colliding with any given D-pad. I think that is a better way to do it. Check that the touches need to be the outer for loop, because I don't know why. Let's just try it this way. So we're going to say for key value in pairs of our touches, we want to check this collision with any of the D-pad. So I think we need to do the nested for loop here. We need to say, okay, well now for index value in pairs of D-pad. Now D-pad holds all of our collidable touch objects. And it's not then, oh god, it's not then, it is do. Fuck. Okay, do. Okay, so for every touch, and this is where we would need to break out. If we become pressed, shit, man. Yeah, if we become pressed, if any of our D-pads is pressed, then we need to not become false for that on the current frame. So that's what's tough for me to wrap my head around. So if the value, that is our D-pad object, collides with the actual touch that we're at, which is the V, which we can say for touch, so that we can give it the same parameter name there, touch. Then let's just try to say pressed gets true. It would be touch dot, no, it would be touch dot pressed gets true. So if we test this and see, now that we're not flushing any of the V pressed to false, let's just see if we're flipping those switches on. And then if we are, then we just know it's a fault in our logic somewhere, and we can worry about fixing that. So we'll say cycle through our touches. Every touch gets compared with every D-pad, and if we collide with the touch, if any of those objects collide with our touch, then that touch, it's not the touch, it's the value. Because the value is the D-pad is the touch detection, and the touch detection is what has the dot pressed. So the value, and we can call this button just to be more verbose here, and we can say if the button collides with our touch, then the button becomes pressed. It's easier to read. Let's try this. So we'll do our shortcut, get fugitive, add, and commit with a message saying testing button press, and then we will get push. Let's try it. Oh gosh, camera, come on. I can't tell if I'm sleepy or if I'm out of focus. Come on! Okay. Okay. It is... What the fuck? It's still only working when I tap it, not when I hold it. 'Cause But we know that the touch's X and Y positions getting updated. That's what we're rendering as red. So we should be able to detect movement. Because look, we're able to make them become pressed by tapping them. But not when we move it. Hopefully that it would turn them once we move it over them. That is just so weird. There must be something still happening with our mouse X and mouse Y that's preventing it from... Shit, I don't know. Let's... We might have to, well, no, our touches, so our touches X and Y are correct. We know that because our touches is showing up where we touch. So we know the X and Y is correct. And we know that the dot pressed is getting triggered to true. But it's only if it's... We got to be doing something weird in the D-pad. I want to say we got to be doing something weird here. We are checking collides based on a scale factor, which I think we don't need anymore. I don't know, though. Because we're able to trigger it. We're able... This isn't the right issue, because we're able to trigger it to be pressed. That's how we were able to change the colors. It's just that we couldn't trigger it to be pressed when the thing was moving. But we know we have the right... We know we have the right X manipulation on the touch move because we're rendering the circle where our touch is. So we know that position's getting changed. So if that position's getting changed, that is being modified in the touches table. So when we go to set it to be pressed, we change it from the touches table because we're cycling through our touches table, and every touch is what we're checking for the button collision. I'm with you, Katron. I gotta go too. I'm not sure what to try. Got whammied. Okay, I feel better than we were yesterday, right? We're closer. It's just that I don't know what direction to move at this point. We know our touches are being modified. Our touches X and Y are being modified when we move. We know that. It might be this mouse down. Oh, it is. It is this mouse down. Mouse down is only true once we touch, and that's why... Let's try this. Let's try this. I think this might be it. So we'll commit and add with a message saying removed mouse. Okay. And then we will push. Sweet. Let's try it. I think this is it. I got a good feeling. Got a good feeling. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's gonna work. Okay, we're looking for the buttons to become pressed when we drag our red dot over it. Shit. You know what? We did get pulled. Did we do everything right? Did we do... Let's try it again. Shit, man. I thought that was it. We're only changing pressed at the initial press, not when the thing is moving over it. So what could be causing that? This pressed is only getting triggered once we initially touch it, but we know the X and Y are being updated. We're not doing the mouse down anymore. The only thing I could think of is that once we touch it, oh. Well, let's fix the issue here where we get the correct X and Y upon a press, not upon a drag. I still feel like it should work over the drag, but we're going to say go ahead and modify our X and our Y to be equal to the push variable. Let's just see if that changes anything. Fuck. Oh no. Oh no. What did I do? Okay. Oh no. We fucked this up. Our commit message is jacked. Oh, it's there. It's there. We just gave an empty commit message for some reason. Okay. Let's try it. Now it's just not turning pressed at all. Shit. Well. All right. We're close. We've got to figure this out. I have to go cook dinner, but we'll finish this tomorrow. We're close. I just have to do some thinking about why this is so jacked up. There's something sneaky about the global mouse X and Y and the get mouse position that I think is still screwing up the renders. But we've got the correct touch and the multiple inputs working for the touch detection. Now we just need to get the collision function working. We're close though, super close. But yeah, so we'll find out. We'll find a maybe we'll raid out to Practical, because I haven't raided him in a while. Let's see if he's... I know he was doing a game jam earlier. If he still is, we'll give him a raid. Yeah. Oh, he's looking to raid out. Oh, I think he's looking to raid out because he's looking at Adagon Dev right now.
6 hours. The first 3 hours were yesterday, and the next 3
Oh my gosh. Is he raiding out or is he just snooping?
Expired popsicle. Thanks for the raid. You should have maybe raided Adagon, because we're just watching Adagon right now. How's it going? Wait, 1 sec. I'm gonna say 1 sec. Just got raided.
Okay, I think
What have you been up to?
we'll raid Adagon. Shit. We've got to go on here. Okay. We're raiding out to Adagon Dev. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll hopefully get this stuff figured out. But peace out. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, y'all. Catch you later.